Welcome to the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Freemasons while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian, and today we're going to talk about why Freemasons won't be able to leave the fraternity if we deploy a few things, a few tips and tricks. So you've heard me on other podcasts talk about I wouldn't bring another person in the fraternity until we fix what's going on the inside. Basically, the old adage, you don't invite somebody over for dinner if the house isn't picked up. And my personal belief is Masonry, our house isn't picked up. We're always talking about getting new Masons, making new Masons. Our problem is not getting new Masons or making new Masons. Our problem is keeping them from going out the back door, right? Just think about it. How many folks come in and then a year, 2, 5 years later, we don't see them. But do we know why? So I was at a conference recently, an investors conference, and this particular company was talking about sales, marketing, retention. Again, a totally different industry than Masonry, obviously, but this conversation resonated with me. The gentleman talked about everyone knows their cost to acquire a customer, their acquisition costs, all of these things for recruiting, sales, get them. But on your customers, we know all of the data about getting them in, but what we don't know is why they're leaving and how fast they're leaving, right? So, interesting thing, I did a search on Amazon for sales and marketing, how to get customers, books. There were 1.6 million sales and marketing related books. Fascinating. Everyone's focused on getting them in, customers, right? And at the end of the day, let's put our business hat on. I want you to think of our members, our brothers, as a customer. You know, we need them to pay the bills, right? So conversely, I did a search on books for retention, retaining customers, keeping customers. 34,000 books queried, right? That's 47 to 1. For every 47 sales or marketing books, there's only one on retaining someone. Think about that. That may be why we've got such a problem. Again, we've got to keep these men from going out the back door. Many of these members, so we have a bunch of episodes we're going to bank and cut into one. A lot of the folks that are not with us in Masonry anymore, within that first 90 days, they had started making the decision to leave for a variety of reasons. So here are a few things that we can deploy that cost a whole $0 to maybe help with the retention. One thing several of these brothers that don't come back say is, nobody acknowledged me. I feel like I was just a number. Nobody cared if I was there or not. So, or it was just the same old experience, right? So let's talk about a few things. Let's start from day one. They submit their petition, we vote on them, and then now they're ready to get their degrees. And I know most lodges, my lodge, secretary will call, maybe the master will call and say, hey, Brian, congrats, you've been accepted to take the degrees of Masonry. Be here at this day and time. Maybe they'll tell you what to wear, right? Wouldn't it be cool if you did something like this? We know they're accepted, right? We get some parchment paper, some paper that looks old, right? We print it in some calligraphy format, and we sign it. Have one of our members. As Masons, we've all got damn tuxes, and especially if you're in the shrine, you go to all these events. So have one of your members in a tux. It'll be a letter that would simply say, you've been accepted. Please be ready at your home at this day and time and wear this. Somebody will be there to pick you up. So imagine this. You're waiting to become a Mason. And, I wonder if I've been accepted or not. Boom, boom, boom. There's a knock at the door. Somebody will find out. They'll call in advance to find out if you're going to be home. It's not going to be a blind knock. Boom, 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 knock on the door. Open the door. There'll be a gentleman in a tuxedo. They'll hand you an envelope. And on the outside, it would have maybe your lodge name on it. They open it up. You've been accepted, blah, 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 blah. Mysteriously, the guy in the tuxedo walks away. Of course, it'll say if you have questions, call. How cool is that? Now, fast forward. Now, this is the day that they're supposed to take their first degree. Somebody shows up, picks them up for the degree work. Think about that. Picks them up, and if they're not dressed properly, say, hey, you might want to put this on or do this, whatever. Drives them to their degree work, then they do the degree work, and then they get to drive them home, and they can kind of recap it. How cool of a first impression would that be? Now, it's going to cost, somebody say, well, Brian, you said this was going to be free, cost us nothing. Parchment paper is cheap. You guys are wasting money on other stuff. It's one less can of green beans you have to serve at a lodge meeting, right? So think about that. One thing just to start the experience off right, okay? So now let's fast forward. Why aren't, as a master, now, I think we're the second largest lodge in the United States, maybe the first. We volley back and forth. But why is the master or secretary, we have all of this data. Why aren't we sending a text message to a brother on their birthday? It takes no effort to do that. In fact, on most phones, you can schedule a text to go out. Why aren't we doing that? It's free. Secondly, why aren't we texting these brothers on the anniversary of when they were raised? I know so many times, we wait for their 25-year emblem or 50-year emblem or 60. Why not, hey, happy 3rd-year anniversary of being a Mason? That might be that one thing that they say, hey, they remembered me. Why aren't we doing the birthday? Why aren't we doing the anniversary? Here's another thing. Maybe on the 1-year anniversary, when folks get raised, most lodges, they take a photo of them and they're with the master, the secretary, their top liner, so there's a photo. Why not on the 1-year anniversary are we not presenting them a photo, a 5x7 photo in a frame? Get a $5 black frame, it's nice. Photos to print's $1. So why aren't we investing $6 in giving them something that they'll remember? Maybe that's sitting somewhere, it'll make it harder for them to quit us later, right? Why aren't we assigning a mentor, right? We should do a way better job of that. When they're not showing up for a meeting, why aren't we calling them and saying, hey, I haven't seen you in a while? Because it could be meetings suck, they're boring. Maybe it's I'm busy. Oh, great, I understand that. Remember your a first degree charge. Maybe something's going on and you're that person that reached out and said, well, let's talk it through. Isn't that what Brotherhood's all about? We need to talk to them. Maybe they're going to say, I didn't come because of X. Maybe there's a systemic problem, but if we don't ask, we don't know what's going on. We're spending all of this time and effort. Think about what it takes to raise somebody as a Mason. All this time and effort to get them in, but we're just letting them go out of the back door. Everything we're talking about, all of this is cheaper and easier than getting everyone together to do good quality degree work. I mentioned this on another episode. A lot of us, we get new sports coats. It's not because we wear them out. It's because we outgrow them or shrink out of them, right? We don't wear out sports jackets. So instead of donating them to the DAV, Goodwill or whatnot, why aren't we keeping those at lodge if they're in good repair and hanging them up with a size on them? Because sometimes folks, when they come in, they don't have a jacket. They feel like, well, I'd like to come, but everyone's wearing a jacket. Why shouldn't we have a bunch of sports coats there and say, hey, I was going to give it, somebody come and take this, it's yours. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we taking care of our own? Another thing that is kind of a theme that when we've talked to Masons that have left a fraternity, they join for the faith, hope, and charity, right? But what charitable things are we doing? For example, our lodge, we donate a lot of money. Now that's great. Causes need money, but why aren't we doing more in our community? When it's an 80-degree day in May, why aren't we getting a group of us and going to clean up a park with our logoed shirt? Why aren't we volunteering to be chaperones at events? Why aren't we doing X in the community? We could be doing better because, one, not only would that help on the recruiting side, people will see us, but people want to be part of something bigger. And if you send out a Facebook message, Instagram, whatever platform, and say, hey, on Saturday at this time, we're going to have bags, bring some gloves, and wear a Masonic logoed shirt. We're going to clean the park. We're going to volunteer at Special Olympics. We're going to do X in the community. This is what we're supposed to be doing as Masons. And lastly, there are 1,000 things we could do, right? And we'll do another video. But why not for the brothers that can't attend lodge for some reason? Life gets in the way, right? Why at the end of a meeting, why isn't the master maybe doing a 3 to 5 minute recap of what we talked about at the meeting? Hey, we did this, we talked about this, we voted on this, we've talked about this going on, this was these 3 people's anniversary of being raised a Mason, blah, 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 blah. Why aren't we doing those little things? Men, Freemasons cannot leave the fraternity and will not leave the fraternity if we just deploy a few of these little things. I promise you, if you save just one member, that one member could be able to perpetuate themselves. And I believe if we put in just a little bit more effort on watching the back door and not the front door, we'd be surprised at the results we can get. So it's a great day to be a Freemason. Thanks for watching the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast.